Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Game Nexus and another Imperial Assault battle report. This match is between myself and my good friend Tanner as we try and get reacquainted with the game and also try not to destroy our friendship in the process. For this battle report, I'll be playing the Rebels and my friend Tanner will be playing the Imperials. Our match is taking place on the frozen Navinium war zone and involves both of us trying to control patrol droids for a measly 4 victory points. Basically, we're just going to try and destroy each other. Mac moves 4 spaces into the frozen hallway, looking for his first catch of the day. Tanner's Royal Guard open the blast doors and proceed to move into the room, shuffling around like a bunch of mindless zombies. Tanner's trying to decide if he's going to take the control panel, which I think would be a good idea. Luke decides to sit on the ground and go into a meditative trance, much to the dismay of Tanner, who thinks that Luke should have just opened the door and gone rushing into the face of his Royal Guard. Tanner's ISB agent opens the blast door and jumps into the water, doing his best impression of a polar bear. Tanner's other ISB agent moves down the hall and lines up a shot against Mac, which ultimately misses due to range. Diala decides that Mac needs some babysitting and moves up 5 spaces to help him out. Tanner evidently doesn't feel that the Inquisitor is powerful enough and plays the Force Rush command card to get him close to my rebels. Tanner uses lightsaber throw and hurls his lightsaber at Diala for 2 points of damage. On my turn, I decide to open the blast doors with Jin and go on into the cavern, giving the ISB agent a good rebel welcome. This of course means that she doesn't shoot first. On his turn, Tanner runs Bosk into the cavern and decides to shoot at Jin, totally being a bad host and everything. Jin interrupts, however, and shoots at Bosk first, in a total disregard to the Imperial Assault rules as we know it. Bosk misses his shot due to range, and Tanner goes into a fit of rage. Jin uses her dice results to activate Nimble and decides to take cover in the entranceway to the cavern. Fen decides to stay where he is and open fire on the ISB agent across the cavern. His first barrage misses completely, while he does score on his second one, inflicting 4 points of damage on the ISB infiltrator. Tanner activates Agent Blaze and moves past Boscarelli to line up a shot against Jin, with some pretty dodgy line of sight. Jin is unable to avoid this shot and suffers 4 points of damage. Now it's time for us to move our patrol droids in hopes to get some pretty easy victory points. Basically it amounts to us just moving the droids back and forth so that neither of us can get them. So at the end of round 1, Tanner and I are tied at 4 points apiece, and yes, we are still friends on Facebook. Round 2 kicks off with Tanner activating his Grand Inquisitor and using his command card Hunt Them Down, because apparently lightsaber throwing is all the rage these days, with Diala on the receiving end of said lightsaber throw. The Inquisitor's lightsaber throw finds its mark with Diala, and thanks to Hunt Them Down, deals 2 cleave to back, ending his career as a Rebellion sharpshooter. The Inquisitor then goes and finishes off his movement. Luke wakes up from his nap and decides to take the fight to the Royal Guard. He opens the door and rushes right in, defeating the Royal Guard. Feeling pretty good about myself, I move Luke into the command center, looking around to see who else I can defeat with my lightsaber. On his turn, Tanner takes his first ISB agent and lines up a shot with Dahlia, because she hasn't had enough of that happen already today. The second ISB agent goes for his gun, but Jin does her best Han Solo impersonation and fires first using hair trigger. After receiving a blaster shot to the gut, the ISB agent is a little rattled and fails to hit Jin. Tanner has a card up his sleeve, literally, and uses Xylo technique to reduce the damage to his ISB infiltrator. Jin decides to repay the favor and continues blasting away at the ISB infiltrator from the safety of her doorway. Fortunately, she comes up short and doesn't get the range that she needs. Tanner decides to move Bosk up and fires at Gideon, who just barely avoids being defeated. Meanwhile, the battle still rages in the cavern, with Fen deciding to stand his ground and open fire with his blaster carbine at the ISB infiltrator. Tanner manages to roll the first dodge of the game, while Fen's second shot just doesn't have the range to do the damage. Tanner moves Agent Blaze up, and with one well-placed shot, removes Gideon from play. Alas, poor Gideon, we hardly knew you. Using the rest of Agent Blaze's movement, Tanner moves him into a better position to follow up for next round. Diala moves up and decides to attack the Inquisitor with her Shattering Blow. As a result, he loses 1 defense dice, and Diala inflicts 3 points of damage. Tanner's Royal Guard is freaked out and turns around and hits Luke for 2 points of damage, which is pretty much more than it did in the entire movie of Return of the Jedi. Tanner and I do the robot shuffle and get ready for round 3. So at the end of round 2, the score is Dwayne 4 and Tanner 10, and I'm bracing myself for the horror to come. Tanner kicks off round 3 by playing the command card Take Initiative, and I'm pretty much logging into Facebook as we speak. Wasting no time at all, Tanner activates his ISB infiltrator and sends Diala into retirement, contemplating why she even became a Jedi in the first place. With his remaining movement, Tanner repositions his ISB infiltrators. His second one even takes cover behind a downed assault turret. In the ongoing saga between Luke and the Royal Guard, he finally succumbs to the dark side of the Force and obliterates a cowering Royal Guard. Tanner is less than impressed, to say the least. Deciding to release his anger, Tanner activates the Grand Inquisitor, sprinting around the corner and running Jyn through with his saber, and extremely wounding a surprised Fen with Cleave. In a desperate act of defense, Fen empties his blaster carbine into the Inquisitor, who manages to dodge the second barrage and avoid being killed. The Zillow technique comes out again and proves once again that Tanner is more than just a pretty face. Tanner activates Agent Blaze and kicks off the Luke double team party. Not only that, but Tanner activates Interrogate and has a look at the few remaining command cards that I have in my hand and hopes to tilt the odds in his favor, like they weren't already in his favor. Bosk jumps into the fray as the latest party guest and attacks Luke, almost killing him. The last remaining patrol droid bumps around in the corridors, mainly doing nothing. Luke, on the verge of starting a new career as a Force Ghost, strolls up to Blaze, smacks him with his lightsaber, doing 2 points of damage. Things are really starting to go south now as Tanner activates the Grand Inquisitor and puts Fen out of his misery, removing him from play. Tanner now starts moving his units into a better position to deliver the coup de grace. Luke is truly the last Jedi at this point. Boss tries to hit Luke, but he's too busy jumping around like a rabid pork for Boss to land a blow. Agent Blaze walks up and backhands Luke to put him in his place. Luke is truly on his last legs at this point. At this point, is there even any point in moving the droid? Yeah, I didn't think so. Tanner moves in for the kill and puts the icing on the cake by playing single purpose. Boscarelli takes down Luke Skywalker with 2 blasts from his indiscriminate fire and ends the game with Luke becoming one with the Force. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and remember to check out enterthegamenexus.com for more exciting battle reports and gaming content.